Welcome to this ITTF Intertribal Task Force sponsored discussion on Native American business opportunities with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. My name is Kevin Chesnick. I am an Oneida Nation tribal member and the former chief engineer for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. I will act as your guide today as we explore critical knowledge needed to be successful as an NADBE, or Native American Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Firm in Wisconsin. This is the second vignette of a 5-session set of webinars that provides critical information, contacts, policy guidance, and several Native American firms' stories on working for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. The goal of the presentations is to encourage new Native American firms to begin working in the transportation industry, provide the process and steps required to become a certified DBE firm in Wisconsin, and to list the available resources that can support firms able to access, find work, compete for projects successfully, and become valuable members in the transportation industry. Vignette number 1 concentrated on the information needed to become a certified NADBE. Vignette number 2 will provide an overview of knowledge needed to be a successful NADBE firm. Vignette number 3 will discuss winning WSDOT contracts and working with prime contractors. Vignette number 4 will review details of being a contractor, including labor compliance, special provisions, trucking, payroll, and getting paid. Vignette number 5 will discuss ways to grow your NADBE capacity and do more work through the support services offered by Wisconsin Department of Transportation. The goal for today is to provide an introduction to 2 important resources for NADBEs to understand: the project plan set and the construction specification book. Today's agenda, shown on the screen, has 3 of our firms providing information today. Our 3 speakers are great resources for Native American firms. Our first presenter is Ms. Mary Dvorak, a certified NADB owner of Hard Rock Sawing and Drilling. She will present her perspective of using the project plan set and special provisions. Our second presenter is Ms. Ann Neshek, Vice President of Arrow Creek Construction, LLC. She will give us a glimpse of how her firm got started, how it uses the plans and special provisions in their work. And finally, our last presenter is Mr. Matt Grove, Director of Engineering and Construction Policy at the Wisconsin Transportation Builders Association. Matt will provide important insights on how subcontractors can use the Wisconsin DOT plans and specifications to their advantage. I hope you'll find this presentation interesting and useful to you. I will return shortly to summarize what you are about to hear. Please welcome our first speaker, Ms. Mary Dvorak.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, this is Mary Dvorak. I'm the owner of Hard Rock Sawing and Drilling Specialist Company. I am an enrolled Menominee Indian, and I've been a DBE since 2005. For us, when we are looking at doing work for the WSDOT, we are looking at our the plans and spec book. There we are looking for what they'll tell us what our description of our work will entail. For us as saw cutters, there's only really 3 items that we look on at when we are doing the bid. Even though there are many of the items on there, there's 3 that pertains to my business only. One is the mobilization cost. One would be the cost of cutting the asphalt, and would be the bid item for sawing the concrete. When we look at these through the spec book, we get our general description of what the work is going to call for us to do. Are we going to be working at the nighttime? Are we working in days? The duration of the project, and the staging of the project. On our plan sheets, will help us get more details on what we are cutting. Are we cutting patches? Are we going to be cutting trenches? Are we just going to be cutting straight down the road on the shoulder of the road? We check the details for the patches of the road thickness. Is the road going to be cutting the asphalt, or is it going to be cutting the asphalt with the concrete underneath it? So that is giving us our depth of our material for which we will be cutting. It also gives us our general job site information, access to the roads to and from the site, and where the road closures expectations will be. With that, I would like to pass it on to Ms. Ann Neshek, Vice President of Arrow Creek Construction, LLC, out of West Dallas.
Thank you, Mary. I am Ann Neshek, the Vice President of Arrow Creek Construction. I want to start by giving you a little bit of information about our company and how we began our business. In 1994, I graduated from UW-Milwaukee with a Bachelor's of Business Administration with an accounting major. My husband, Dwayne Neshek, who is an Oneida Nation of Wisconsin enrolled tribal member and now tribal elder, was working in the concrete construction industry as a union cement mason. We studied the industry and the WSDOT DBE program, and we decided to start a concrete construction business. Our first year in business was 1996. My husband quit his job in the spring, and we started knocking on doors and handing out flyers to new homes being built around the Milwaukee area. We were fortunate enough to get a few customers and hired our first 2 employees. We kept trying to get more business and eventually found a garage builder that was looking for a concrete contractor to pour garage floors for them. Now that we had a few jobs completed with happy customers, we began the process of becoming a DBE certified by WSDOT. We completed the WSDOT DBE application and provided them with all the documentation they required. There was a lot of paperwork, including copies of our personal taxes, information about my husband's Oneida Tribal certification, copies of our customers' invoices and payments, and copies of payments we made to our material and equipment rental suppliers. We submitted our application, and after we submitted some additional documents they requested, we had an on-site interview. At the on-site interview, the WSDOT DBE certification specialist came to our office, which was in our home and still is, and went over the information we provided with our application. We then went out to a project that we were working on that day with the WSDOT certification specialist. After they reviewed everything, we were certified as a WSDOT Native American-owned disadvantaged business on September 25, 1996. With this certification in hand, we called and went to numerous prime contractors that were working on WSDOT projects. We ended up getting some small contracts on projects where we poured concrete sidewalks and driveway approaches. As luck would have it, groundbreaking for the Milwaukee Brewers Stadium, Miller Park, was in November of 1996. I was still working at an accounting job at Dawes Rigging and Crane Rental, and one of our salesmen asked me if I knew if any of our customers were DBE certified. I told him yes, that my husband and I just got certified. He gave me the name and number of one of the people in charge of building Miller Park. My husband called him and made an appointment to meet with them and discuss the possibility of us working on the project. HCH Joint Venture gave us a contract to provide the cement masons to pour all of the concrete at Miller Park. With this contract in hand, we went to the local unions and became a union company signatory with the laborers, cement masons, and operator unions in Milwaukee. Since my husband was a union cement mason, he had friends from working at other construction companies. He called them and told them that we had a contract to pour the concrete at Miller Park and asked them if they wanted a job. We hired his friends and others and had 50 employees at our busiest when working at Miller Park. I was the only person in the office doing the payroll and accounting work, so I needed to quit my job at Dawes and work full-time for our company. This project gave us the cash flow and credibility to take on larger and larger WSDOT projects. We also became certified with the State of Wisconsin MBE program, the Milwaukee County DBE program, and the City of Milwaukee SBE program. We still use these additional certifications as jobs come up that fit our type of work. With the help of SBA guaranteed loans and the WSDOT DBE mobilization loan program, we were able to purchase the equipment and have the cash flow we needed to continue being successful working on WSDOT projects. Over the years, we continually reinvested our profits into the company to enable us to continue growing. Currently, we have 39 union employees and 4 office employees, including my husband and myself. It was a lot of work, but we enjoy knowing that we built this company from scratch and have something to be proud of. Now I'm going to talk about working on WSDOT projects. When we first became certified as a WSDOT DBE, one of the DBE staff members told us if we can't We can get projects on WisDOT. It's like working with the 600-pound gorilla of jobs. Why was he right? We worked on small projects and mega projects for WisDOT. We started small and kept growing in equipment and employees, which enabled us to work on larger and larger projects. I admit it was scary when we worked on mega projects, but it was worth it. As other presenters have said, there's a lot of information to read and study when you work on WisDOT projects. You need to know what the prime contractor and what WisDOT expect from you when you perform your work. WisDOT has bid lettings for projects every month except October. To decide which projects we want to bid on, we go on to WisDOT's HCCI website and look at the advertisements for bids. Once we know which projects we're interested in, we log into Bid Express and select our items that we're planning on bidding on. We study the plans and go to the job site to look at where the work will take place. When we look to see what obstacles will be in our way and see how difficult it will be to get the material and equipment to the job site to complete our work. We then prepare our bids and send them to the prime contractors we want to bid with the day before the letting. The day of the letting, we look again at the Bid Express website to see which prime contractor was the apparent low bidder. Later that day or the next day, we call the prime contractor to see if we will be working for them on the project. Once we're awarded the subcontract, some of the things we need to do for every WisDOT project include providing our supplier information, including certifications that show that the materials meet WisDOT specifications, performing or contracting out to perform WisDOT material testing for the concrete that we pour, reading and understanding the WisDOT specifications and plans for our items of work, paying the correct wages to our employees and submitting certified payroll reports, hiring minority and female employees to comply with the required equal employment opportunities of the contract. We also attend the pre-construction meeting and weekly meetings to know when our work is to be taking place and what WisDOT, the prime contractor, and the subcontractors expect of us. To me, it seems like everyone needs to work together to have a successful project. The more projects you work on, the easier it gets, because you know from the last project what is required of you. Over the years, we've worked on numerous projects with different prime contractors, WisDOT inspectors, and other subcontractors. You get to know these people and companies and how they do things and how your work fits into the project. Thanks for listening to me. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or email me at the number listed below. Our next presenter is Matt Grove, the Director of Engineering and Construction Policy for the Wisconsin Transportation Builders Administration.
Thank you, Ann. Hello, my name is Matt Grove. I'm the Director of Engineering and Construction Policy at the Wisconsin Transportation Builders Association. WTBA is a trade association that represents the highway contracting industry in the state of Wisconsin. I've been asked today to present on the importance of having a strong understanding of project plans and specifications when working as a prime or subcontractor on WisDOT highway construction projects. Risk and responsibility has been passed to the contracting industry over the last several years, making it imperative that all contractors be aware of contract requirements and expectations for quality and timely completion of work. When working on WisDOT and federal aid projects, there are significant additional responsibilities that a contractor must be aware of. It is essential to understand all federal requirements, such as Davis-Bacon and certified payroll reporting requirements. To protect your company, it is also very important to understand all other state and local laws and regulations related to doing business, such as insurance and tax requirements. There are numerous resources available to navigate this complicated system, but understanding and conforming to the requirements does not come without effort and assistance. As a subcontractor, it is imperative that you understand the scope of work you are performing. WisDOT contract documents provide detailed plans and specifications to provide contractual requirements for the work. These documents are often extremely lengthy and complicated. Expectations and standards on WisDOT projects are typically higher than other construction work. As a subcontractor, you are expected to perform work that is accepted for quality and performed within your allowed schedule, and expected to be aware of all contract requirements found in the project plan set and specifications. The standard specifications are the work rules and requirements for working on WSDOT projects. Part 1 of the specification covers such areas as bidding requirements, notification and claiming extra work, contract time and allowable time extensions, and payment for changes. Also found in the standard specifications are requirements for quality, method of measurement, and units of pay that will be used for highway construction contracting work, such as excavation, paving, structures, and incidental construction, and associated material requirements. This information is critical to understand when submitting a quote and represents a significant risk of loss if an incorrect assumption or error is made. Specific project requirements can be found in the project plan set and project special provisions. Plan sets are broken down into multiple sections, and it is important to know what information pertaining to your work is found in each section. The plan set includes plan and profile sheets, typical sections, general construction details, traffic control plans, miscellaneous quantities, and cross-sections and earthwork data. The project provisions take precedent over the standard specifications and provide information such as project schedule, utility coordination, traffic control, local business considerations, and any other project specifications that either found in the standard specifications or are changes to the standard specifications. Prior to submitting a quote to a prime to perform work, a subcontractor or supplier must look closely at each section of the plan set and special provisions to ensure that you have not missed a contract requirement or change in the standard specifications. It's also important to understand the project schedule and how it may affect your work schedule and operations. Don't forget about the additional specifications found at the back of the project special provisions. These requirements are very important, and having a strong understanding of these requirements is essential to performing and reducing risk on WSDOT projects. ASP1 provides basic information regarding the TRANS program training and project incentives. ASP3 is a very important document which outlines the Federal Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, DBE, requirements during the bidding process through the end of the project. These requirements and guidelines must be well understood by both DBEs and non-DBE contractors. ASP4 contains requirements for prompt payment and retainage on projects. Subcontractors are paid within 10 days of the prime being paid. This payment is contingent on work being completed. It may also include payroll reporting and material certification. The prime can withhold payment if the work is not completed and accepted as long as they provide notice to the subcontractor and the Department of Transportation. Retainage is typically required to be paid in full upon final project payment from WSDOT. Prior to that, WSDOT will typically not address retainage between the prime and the sub. This must be addressed in your subcontract. ASP6 contains interim changes to the standard specifications that are time-sensitive and need to be implemented prior to the annual revision. Notification of these changes are typically found on the HCCI site. ASP7 and ASP9 contain information on payment reporting and certified payrolls. Understanding and being in compliance with these provisions will help build a strong relationship with prime contractors and will decrease your overhead and increase your cash flow. Almost all requirements and procedures related to WSDOT construction can be found on the HCCI site. This includes, but is not limited to, the standard specifications, plans and proposals, the construction and materials manual, the facility development manual, and other important technical information. Also found on the site is information regarding monthly bid lettings, such as the eligible prime bidders list, the advertisement for projects, project addenda, and project-specific questions and answers. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin.
Thank you, Matt. Lots of information was shared today. I want to draw your attention to the screen and show you the website that Matt was referring to, HCCI site. A lot of more details and backup information can be accessed on this site, so I'd encourage anybody that's interested to check this site out. I want to thank everyone today for attending our session. This was the second session on Native American contracting with Wisconsin DOT. I hope you found the information very interesting. I also want to thank our three presenters today, Ms. Mary Dvorak, Hard Rock Sawing and Drilling, Ms. Ann Nashik, Arrow Creek Construction, and Mr. Matt Grove, Wisconsin Transportation Builders. Our next session, vignette number 3, will provide information on working with prime contractors. I hope you'll take the time to join us again. Thank you.